So the theory behind these location generations is actually pretty interesting, and it's based off of research that has been done, which connects a person's personality trait to a lifestyle pattern that they may probabilistically show over time. And I actually generated a quick illustration that better explains what that looks like or what that could mean. Like I said, it's based on a few different research papers that I was reading. And what we have here is basically the blue line here represents time. And then we have four different types of people. So we have type A, type B, type C, and we should have type D somewhere. So this is A, B. It's a little bit of a error here. Type A, D, B, C. And what this represents is a pattern that is an example pattern that these types may display on a typical routine basis, lifestyle basis. And so what we'll see here is like type B and type C person may wake up first and then directly go to their jobs. Now, within each of these jobs, obviously there are different types of jobs which can drive or signal different types of traits within people. For example, type B people may be more driven towards healthcare jobs, whereas type C people may be more driven towards, service industry or something like that. And so that dispersion is a nuance that happens within the pattern, but what we are doing is we are generalizing the location type and the time that this personality trait may, be at that location type, and using that to then generate these location predictions based on your specific geographical location. That was a lot of big words, but I'm going to reiterate what I just said in maybe a simpler terms. Let me jump back over here. Type B, type C, they go to their jobs. Type A, type D, maybe they wake up a little bit earlier. They have personality traits that signal a tendency towards, and a walk in the morning or a hike or something in like a local park. And in this location, type A and type D people would intersect, and they would have that personality traits overlap that would signal this type of location in the morning. As the day goes on, maybe they go into, maybe after work or something, they end up at the gym. At the gym, it's another like high density meeting point for a lot of different types of personalities. And within that gym location, you also have little nuanced locations as well, like sub-locations, which is, maybe a type B person will be more driven towards a CrossFit environment, whereas a type D person may be driven more towards like a yoga environment, and then like competitive lifting, things like that. So those break out and can reflect certain personality traits on their own as well. But for the sake of this example, what we're looking at is in a gym time, in a gym umbrella, you would, at this particular time, for example, you would interact with, or you would overlap with type A, type B, type C, type D people at this general time. And then as the day goes on, maybe type A and D people break out into like a grocery store run in the evening. And then type B and type C people, maybe they go to the library after their gym session. Maybe that's their routine or something. And similarly, within each of those subgroups or the sublocations, like type A and type D, there's certain traits that may signal someone prefers Costco over Vons, or Vons over Trader Joe's, or Trader Joe's over, something else. And so those locations in themselves can be used to signal certain traits as well. So throughout the entire, kind of backing up through the bigger picture, what's happening is each person type starts their day individually, and then they would, essentially end their day in the place that they started, if you assume a cyclical pattern. But throughout the day, they're connecting with or exuding, they are overlapping at certain locations at certain times with other personality traits. And what this means is if we can draw a line from like type A person all the way down throughout their day, the line would basically go through a park to a gym and then to a grocery store. So the premise of this application that I've built is if you want to increase your probability of running into a type A person, you would match your lifestyle pattern in that way as well. So in the morning, you would go to a park. You would go, and based on your geographical location, we can try to recommend specific parks, but that's the general idea. You go to a park and then you would go to the gym, whereas typically maybe you wouldn't be doing that. And then after the gym, you would go to your grocery store, and maybe it's an evening grocery store run, maybe it's a weekend grocery store run, I don't know. But though that type of a person would exude those traits where the probability of you running into that person would increase if you follow this pattern. And that's what this app is based on. It's based off of a statistical pattern, a statistical pattern that can be shown over time with enough people that share a personality trait within a geographical region. And to prove it, I will need a large enough sample size, but this is a list that was generated for me for this particular trait structure right here. I'll go to these locations and I'll maybe do a couple interviews or something and see if we can get a little bit of feedback going into this model. But that gives a bigger picture of what this is based on. It is based on research, and I'm going to do some experiments to prove that it can work over time. If you have any questions, just leave comments or something. We can go deeper into something. All right, thanks for watching.